Chapter-7 on Gurus, Cities, and Sannyasa. It is the mind that creates questions and goes in search of answers. It takes some time until it realizes this fact and gives up. But meanwhile, it interferes continuously in the natural expansion of the seeker's spiritual dimension. Until then, question after question emerges. And Ramana Maharshi stood patiently day by day against the flood. A collection of his replies to stray questions is given in the last chapter. However, the three themes mentioned in the heading above may ask for a treatment in some detail. There is a widespread hunting for the guru, and a lot of so-called gurus make quite a good business out of the distorted ideas about the guru and his function that are prevalent everywhere. Who then is the guru? The sastras say that one must serve a guru for 12 years for getting self-realization. What does the guru do? Does he hand it over to the disciple? Is not the self always realized? What does the common belief mean then? The man is always the self, and yet he does not know it. He confounds it with the non-self, the body and mind. Such confusion is due to ignorance. If ignorance be wiped out, the confusion will cease to exist, and true knowledge will be unfolded. By remaining in contact with realized sages, the man will gradually lose the ignorance until its removal is complete. The eternal self is thus revealed. So says the Maharshi, and he continues. The disciple surrenders himself to the master. That means there is no vestige of individuality retained by the disciple. If the surrender is complete, all sense of individuality is lost, and there is thus no cause for misery. The eternal being is only happiness, and that is revealed. Without understanding it correctly, people think that the guru teaches the disciple something like Tatvam Asi, that thou art, and that the disciple realizes, I am Brahman. In their ignorance, they conceive of Brahman as something more huge and powerful than anything else. With a limited I, the man is so stuck up and wild. What will be the case if the same I grows up enormous? He will be enormously ignorant and foolish. This false I must perish. Its annihilation is the fruit of Guru Seva, or the service to the Guru. Realization is eternal, and it is not newly brought about by the Guru. He helps in the removal of ignorance. That is all. The real Guru is one who has realized the self. But how can we recognize him? He does not talk about himself. He behaves exactly as everybody else. And if he does not, there is reason to be cautious. There is only one quality by which he is revealed in his silence as well as in his talk. If you are ready for him, he will meet you without any searching for him on your part. And only then can you be sure that he is the Guru for you. Meanwhile, you are not without guidance from without. The inner guidance sends signals, as it were, ceaselessly. A certain sentence in a book, a smile of an infant, the beauty of a flower or a sunset, all of them can become the means for a sudden understanding, one of the minor enlightenments which adorn the path of the sincere seeker after truth. All of them could become his or her guru. The famous ancient saint Dattatreya said of himself that he had 24 gurus, including inanimate objects. Even the first quest after the meaning of life is already prompted by the inner, the real guru. There is a beautiful experience of Moses, preserved in the tradition of Islam, when he complained, "O Lord, where shall I seek to find thee?" He heard the answer, "Thou wouldest not seek me if thou wouldest not already have found me." Who is it that is in search for the guru? The longing is certainly prompted by the self, as is indicated also in the answer to Moses' prayer. But it is in the personal I that goes out hunting the guru. It is not punishment when he has to suffer the disappointment of catching the wrong one, but an experience which will teach him the proper way, that is, to trust and wait. If you want by all means to have an outer guru, you will get exactly the kind of guru that corresponds to the stage of your development. That usually means a rather low type, because a guru of a higher standard is of no use to a disciple of limited understanding. The receiver has to be tuned to the wavelength of the transmitter for receiving, and vice versa. Thus, even if there is a meeting with a realized soul, the guru need not refuse the disciple, because the disciple will not even perceive the presence of greatness, since his inner senses are still clouded. He will be like the man who went in search of Chintamani, the celestial gem that fulfills every desire, and found out it and threw it away when he saw a colorful pebble. Of the worst kind among the many gurus nowadays are those who are deliberately exploiting those hunting for a guru. Their method of catching the trustful ignorant is often a mystifying show of ceremonies, incantations, dark hints, and even threats of black magic powers, with references to tradition. Sri Ramana Maharshi says about these means, "The books say that there are so many kinds of initiations. They also say that the guru makes some rites for him with fire and water, and japa and mantras, and calls such fantastic performances dikshas, or initiations, as if the disciple becomes ripe only after such processes are gone through by the guru. The most potent form of work is silence. However vast and emphatic the sastras may be, they fail in their effect. The guru is quiet, and peace prevails in all. This silence is more vast and more emphatic than all the sastras, all the scriptures put together." But when the fake guru is clever enough, he may even feign this attitude also. Another type of self-styled guru may not only deceive the would-be disciple, but also himself. He might have some intellectual knowledge of the truth and be able to teach the same as far as this limited knowledge goes. The sincere seeker after truth will one day or other, by the silent grace of his inner guidance, recognize the limitation of the would-be guru and leave him, perhaps for another one, or perhaps he has ripened enough in the meantime so that he will now recognize the voice of the inner guru, the self, and accept it unreservedly. Or he might follow the way of Dattatreya and learn to see the guru in all and everything, which amounts practically to the same. Now, there is the strange fact that Ramana Maharshi himself refused to be the guru of his devotees. Or to be exact, he never initiated any of them in the traditional way. Some of them are known to have left him, though they loved and worshipped him, because they thought themselves unable to proceed spiritually without an outer guru. How is this strange attitude of his to be understood? Did the sage shun the responsibility which the guru is expected to take over in respect to his devotee? According to tradition, the guru who accepts a disciple also takes over his karma, bad as it may be. No, Sri Ramana Maharshi was only being consistent. He lived what he taught, the realization of the one without a second. When there is only one Brahman, where is the place for guru and disciple? A guru presupposes a disciple a guru. They are invariably two. Can there be two selves, the one guiding the other? True guidance is possible only when the self of the guru and that of the disciple is one and the same self. The real function of the guru, higher and more efficient than his teachings, is his power of contact, removing the ignorance of the disciple by direct transmission. This is, of course, possible only when the guru has himself realized the truth. This power is so real that Ramana Maharshi always gave the greatest importance to satsanga, the contact with highly advanced souls, because their purity, wisdom, and compassion are contagious like health and peace. This is the actual danger of surrender to a wrong guru, that his cunning, his vanity, and selfishness are just as contagious. Even the experience of everyday life shows the danger of evil company, though it is usually taken as an evil example only. But even in that case, the bad influence goes deeper. It is immediately contagious like a disease. May the inner guru protect us. This mysterious land, lost in the sea, granting the gift of the supreme truth to those who find the path into its hidden depths, also still keeps many of the secrets of magic techniques and powers called siddhis. The number of seekers after these secrets will probably outnumber those who are in search after truth. Though it is widely known that Ramana Maharshi did not appreciate such tendencies, usually connected with yoga sadhana, now and again he was asked about the position of siddhis within the frame of the search for the self. And once he declared, "The self is the most intimate and eternal being, whereas the siddhis are foreign. The one requires effort to acquire, the other does not. The powers are sought by the mind, which must be kept alert, whereas the self is realized when the mind is destroyed. The powers manifest only when there is the ego. The self is beyond the ego and is realized after the ego is eliminated. Where is the use of occult powers for self-realization, for a being who is self-realized? For self-realization may be accompanied by occult powers, or it may not be. If the person has sought such powers before realization, he may get them after realization. There are others who have not sought such powers and have attempted only self-realization, and they do not manifest such powers. Among the visitors of the sage was Mr. Evans Wentz, the well-known Tibetologist. He too asked for explanation on the value of occult powers. Ramana Maharshi replied to him, "The occult powers are only in the mind. They are not natural to the self. That which is not natural but acquired cannot be permanent and is not worth striving for. They denote extended powers. A man is possessed of limited powers and is miserable. He wants to expand his powers so that he may be happy. But considering if it will be so, if with limited perception one is miserable, With extended perceptions, the misery must increase proportionately. So cities or occult powers will not bring happiness to anyone, but will make him all the more miserable. Moreover, what are these powers for? The would-be occultist desires to display the powers so that others may appreciate him. He seeks appreciation, and if it is not forthcoming, he will not be happy. He may even find another possessor of higher powers, and that will cause jealousy and breed unhappiness. Which is the real power? Is it to increase prosperity or bring about peace? That which results in peace is the highest perfection or the true siddhi. So says the Maharshi. The root idea in Sri Ramana's attitude to the phenomenon of ESP, or extrasensory perception, as cities nowadays are scientifically labeled, is easily discovered. The ESP experience belongs to the personal I. The teachings of the sage of Arunachala revolve around hunting the I until it submits. To seek and attain cities means to strengthen it. That settles the matter once and for all. Sannyasa was in ancient India the fourth and last of the ashramas, the stations of life. The first of them was represented by the boy who was sent to live as a brahmachari with the guru, to serve him and be trained in the scriptures. The second stage was his life as a householder, after an early marriage in which he carried out his duty to those around him and made his contribution to the collective. When his sons were settled and his daughters married, he was free to retire. However, his was not the idea of retirement to a comfortable life of enjoying well-earned fruits of a life of work and trials. The third stage, the asramas, was a quiet life of renunciation in the woods, vanaprastha, in meditation and prayer, in longing for enlightenment. These first three periods conform to custom and convention, but the last one, sannyasa, the total renunciation, was expected to assert itself at its own time and under its own conditions. This fact was behind Ramana Maharshi's somewhat enigmatic reply to a question as to whether the questioner should embrace sannyasa. And Ramana said, "If you should, you would not have asked." The traditional idea about sannyasa is explained in Narada's sermon on Yudhishthira in the Bhagavatam. The sannyasi whose endeavor should be directed towards the discovery of the true self at the point of contact between deep sleep and the waking state. He should look upon both bondage and freedom, birth and death, as unreal. He should not read profane books, nor live by any profession, nor indulge in polemics, nor take side in a partisan spirit, nor accept disciples, nor do much reading, which would divert his mind from his spiritual practice, nor make speeches, nor undertake any responsible work. After attaining enlightenment, he may continue to behave as before or alter his ways as will suit his convenience. To give no signs by which others can recognize his attainment, he retains his usual mode of life or pursuit. Sri Ramana Maharshi never encouraged people who thought of assuming formal sannyasa, though he thereby seemingly contradicted himself. When pointed out that he himself had cut off connections with his family life and home, he simply replied that it is a matter of karma. Discussing the subject, he saw the motivation. In most cases, it is escapism due to disappointment with a weary and unsuccessful life. Almost as often, it is a matter of self-importance. Being in modest or even poor circumstances, you are nobody. As a sannyasi, you are somebody, at least in the eyes of some people. There might be a third motive with a minority: impatience. They are not satisfied with the slow rate of their spiritual progress. All three kinds of motivation, and all others as well, respond to the promptings of the ego I. Therefore, Ramana Maharshi gave the typical reply: why do you think you are a householder? If you go out as a sannyasi, a similar thought that you are a sannyasi will haunt you. Whether you continue in the household or renounce it and go to the forest, your mind haunts you. The ego is the source of thoughts. If you renounce the world, it will only substitute the thought sannyasi for householder, and the environments of the forest for those of the household. But the mental obstacles are always there. They increase in new surroundings. There is no help in the change of the environment. The obstacle is the mind. It must be gotten over whether at home or in the forest. If you can do it in the forest, why not in the home? Therefore, why change the environment? Your efforts can be made even now, in whatever environment you may be in. The environment never abandons you according to your desire. Look at me, I left home. Look at yourselves. You have come here leaving the home environment. What do you find here? Is this different from what you left? As an answer to another question, the Maharshi replied, Sannyasa is to renounce one's individuality. This is not the same as tonsure and ochre robes. A man may be a householder, yet if he does not think he is a householder, he is a sannyasi. On the contrary, a man may wear ochre robes and wander about, yet if he thinks he is a sannyasi, he is not that. To think of sannyasa defeats its own purpose. Sannyasa really is meant for one who is fit. It consists in renunciation not of material objects, but of attachment to them. Sannyasa can be practiced by anyone, even at home. Only one must be fit for it. It is the sovereign wisdom of this mysterious land lost in the sea in the 20th century, just as it was millenniums ago, when it was expressed in Manu's law for sannyasins, where it states, he should not wish to die, nor hope to live, but await the time appointed, as a servant awaits his wages. He must not show anger to any who is angry. He must bless the man who curses him. He must not utter falsehood. Rejoicing in the things of the spirit, calm, caring for nothing, abstaining from sensual pleasure, himself his only helper. He may live on in the world in the hope of eternal bliss. Thus, sannyasa is neither showy nor brilliant, nor very attractive a path, but just the one on which truth is likely to meet the wanderer, provided he is a true sannyasi.